Today we're going to be doing like a backstory from when me and Billy first met up until our current lives. And so I'm going to start with when we first met. We first met in like 6th grade. We've been on and off dating since 6th grade. We were like 10, 11. So that was like 12, 13 years ago. We finally got back together for the last time on November 15th, 2011, and we've been together ever since. So September 21st, 2013, if I keep looking over here, I'm sorry. I wrote some notes that way I didn't forget anything because there is a lot. September 21st, 2013 was our senior night. That's the night I found out I was pregnant with my oldest son. We were 17 at that time. Well, I was 17, Billy was 16. And so after the senior night football game that our high school had, we went and we bought a pregnancy test. And after he took me home, he dropped me off and I took it. It come up positive before the control line. It was instant. And then we kept it a secret for about 2 weeks. We didn't tell anyone. And then we finally told my mom. She went out and she bought a clear blue digital pregnancy test, and I took it, and of course it came back and said positive. And then Halloween of 2013, we went to my aunt's doctor's office that she worked at, and they done blood work, and it come back positive. So we found out for sure on Halloween through blood work, and then we scheduled an OB appointment and I went off to school. And then everything was pretty okay and then March 2014, Billy moved in. And then May of 2014, we had baby shower, which we got most of our stuff that we even needed from our baby shower. We had a lot of support. And then graduation was May 23rd or 24th of 2014. And then as not even a week after graduation, me and Billy moved out and Billy got a job. And then June 23rd, I went to the doctor's office and he said we're going to schedule an induction. So we scheduled our induction for June 25th. We went in at 5 p.m. And then Rylan was born at June 26th at 1:47 p.m., weighing 6 pounds, 13.7 ounces, and 20 inches long. About a week later, we noticed that Rylan was throwing up. Like, it wasn't just a normal spit up. It was a lot, to where we had to carry a towel around with us everywhere. So it was a lot. So we talked to the doctor, we tried new medications for acid reflux, we tried new formulas, we tried everything, and nothing was working. September came, he was still throwing up, nothing was still working. He was on a $40 can of formula, and it was just, nothing was helping him. So we also noticed around that time, he was hardly sleeping. He had silent acid reflux. Whenever he threw up, he was silent, so he would choke on it. So he did sleep with us. We co-slept. And we noticed that his screaming, he would just scream all day, all night. The kid hardly ever slept. And then, so we got a referral to a gastroenterologist in the children's hospital closest to us, which is about an hour and 45 minutes away from here. And so we went to her, and she said she wanted to do a stomach biopsy, and she also wanted to do a tube that goes up his nose, down his throat, and into his stomach that measures the amount that he's throwing up and the amount of acid in it. And so we done that, and when they done the stomach biopsy, one of the other doctors also done a lung biopsy because he was acting funny. And so they were worried. They wanted to make sure, they wanted to rule out there was nothing in his lungs. He wasn't aspirating into his lungs. Well, we found out that during both the stomach and lung biopsy, they done them at the exact same time on November 5th. They found out he had staph in his lungs. And then they found out that he had a milk protein allergy and severe gastrointestinal issues through that. And then November 25th, Billy ended up having to have back surgery. He got a really heavy tailgate dropped on him, and he ended up with some herniated discs and slip discs, and it was causing him a lot of back pain. He could hardly walk. So he did have to have surgery on that and have a lumbar laminectomy done, which means they just went in and shaved his discs and everything. And then that was fine. It was like a same-day surgery. He got to come home afterwards. And then 7 months, when Rylan was 7 months old, he finally said his first word, which is about the time that most kids say their first word. And of course, his first word was mama. Well, everything was okay. He was still having the acid reflux and everything. We kind of just adjusted to it until he was about a year. A year goes by and he stops formula, and we start using Silk soy milk and Silk almond milk. And he done okay with that. He was okay at a year old, other than we noticed he was getting a lot of strep throat and ear infections. And so the doctor referred us to an ENT. Well, he said, let's do tubes in his ears because he's had way too many ear infections, and he had an ear infection for like 2 months that antibiotics would not clear up. So we done his first set of tubes. And then they fell out prematurely, so we ended up doing a second set of tubes, and he was still reoccurring strep throat, and so they took out his tonsils and adenoids. Well, 14 months old, he started walking. He ended up getting strep throat again, even with his tonsils and adenoids out. We found out he is a strep carrier, and the type of strep that he gets attacks the uvula instead of the adenoids and tonsils. So he still gets strep to this day. He's just a carrier. Almost anytime he's around anybody with it, or he can not be around anybody with it and just catch it, it can just flare up. 14 months old, he started walking, and then January of 2016, we found out that we were expecting our second child, Noah. That Rylan was only a year and a half old. We weren't expecting it. It was definitely a shock. September of 2016 comes around, and Noah was born. September 20th, 2016, 6:57 p.m., 8 pounds, 4.6 ounces. Everything was okay till a month later. November 2016, at 2 years old, we finally got Rylan into a autism evaluation at the Children's Hospital, which is again 1.5 to an hour and 45 minutes away from us. And so we did find out that day that he had autism. He got into a bunch of special services that day, and he got put on a wait list for what they call ABA therapy. And where we live, there is only one therapist for this whole entire side of the United States. And so there's a very long wait list. August 2017, he started a special ed preschool class, in which he's still in. He graduates this upcoming May, and he will be going into another autism class. He will be classified as a kindergartner, but since he is incontinent, then he cannot be in the regular kindergarten class. Rylan's anger kept getting worse. We noticed he would hit, he would bite, he would pinch, he would kick, he would do anything. Noah, he only says about 2 words, and he's starting to show some behaviors of autism at this point. This is a year after he was born, a year and a month after he was born. So he starts showing some behaviors and some signs of autism. So his doctor said, you know what, let's just go ahead, let's get another referral, because it took us at least a year to get an evaluation for Rylan. And so we went on ahead, we put it in, and it was at the same place that tested Rylan and everything. They contacted me and they were like, well, since he already has a sibling with autism, it is generally a lot easier to get a second child in to be tested. So I was like, great. So we got him in, and then it was with the same doctor, and then September 2018, we found out Noah had autism. And so January 19th, 2019, Billy and I, trying to adjust to this crazy life that we have, we just went and we got married, because we wanted to throw a big wedding, but we just didn't have the money for it. Especially now having 2 special needs kids, we couldn't put it in our budget at all. And so we went and got married this year. April of 2019, which we're in, we have started the process to get Noah enrolled into the same preschool class that Rylan is currently in. He has to wait till he's 3. However, it takes at least 6 months for us to fully do all the paperwork, all the evaluations, everything that's got to be done and whatnot. It's at least 6 months to do that. And so we went on ahead and started that. We actually started it like last month, but this is the first month, or this month, we've actually done most of the enrolling. And then we got him enrolled or set up on the waiting list for ABA therapy as well, even though Rylan is the one that needs it the most. I feel like it would also benefit Noah, but you could tell Rylan's the worst behavior-wise. Noah is worse talking-wise. So, it's not really... It'll help Rylan with his anger, but we're hoping maybe it'll also help Noah just to learn those things. That way he doesn't develop that. We are just getting everything in order right now because our lives are chaotic. Rylan is trying a new medication right now. He's on Ritalin, and it's a strong drug. And this is kind of like a last resort thing. We didn't want to put him on medication, but he's getting to the point to where he is too hard to handle whenever he gets into his anger issues and stuff like that. And he can't sleep. He hardly ever sleeps. He's on sleeping medication, but it's the kind that we are on. His body keeps getting used to it, so they have to keep upping the dosage on it. And eventually he's going to max out on that dosage, and it's not going to work at all, which currently is what's happening. So right now we have a sleep appointment with his sleep doctor to see about a long-acting sleep medication. It's a version of the one that he is on, however, it's just long-acting. This one is not. So we do have an appointment with them coming up. And then Noah has to have a hearing evaluation done the beginning of June, because when he was littler, or when he was a newborn, he failed his newborn hearing test like 3 times before he passed it. Well, before we got the autism diagnosis for him, we also thought he had problems hearing, because he acted like he couldn't hear you, he couldn't listen at all. And so we got a referral to an ENT again for Noah before his autism diagnosis, to make sure that he was not deaf, that he could hear. And we did find out that his right ear, he was having trouble hearing lower tones than he was high tones. And so, but they wanted us to go ahead and do the autism evaluation as well. So we did, but if you are deaf in one ear, or even half, it will affect your speech. And so we are seeing a specialist. We have an appointment coming up, which you guys will bring you along to for the results. That's in the beginning of June. And so that's kind of where we're at. I tried to make this video as short as I possibly could. But any of our future doctor's appointments or anything, we're going to be bringing you guys along. And like I said, I hope that you guys will like this video and share our story, and help us with autism awareness, and subscribe to our channel if you want to follow along with us. And we'll see you guys in our next one. Bye!